Press Freedom Day, and global attention has been paid to journalists in their operating environment. At the commemoration of the day in Nigeria's capital Abuja, the federal government assured the media of unrestricted access to information. It also called for responsible journalism in reporting environmental crises. Arise correspondent Benga Ashiru has the report.
The doomsday clock is ticking while the planet comes under threat of climate change. The need to tell this gripping story on how to lead the fight to save the Earth and succeeding generations from this climate scourge once again puts the journalist on the saddle. As stakeholders and advocates of a resilient and sustainable environment converges on the theme for the World Press Freedom Day, which is a press planet for journalism in the face of environmental crisis, the international community once again is sending a strong reminder for commitment, particularly the role of journalists in its patronage for climate content and crisis.
It is a reminder for all governments and stakeholders of the need to respect their commitment to press freedom, and it is also a day of reflection among media professionals about issues of press freedom and professionals' ethics.
With a strong and resounding consensus that as humanity faces existential climate threats, no climatic action is complete without a free and scientific access to information. Perhaps time for the federal government to reiterate its solidarity as agents for the promotion of a climate-friendly society.
In the face of this crisis, journalists emerge as guardians of truth and champions of accountability. They illuminate environmental injustices, expose wrongdoing, and amplify the voices of those most affected by environmental degradation.
The Federal Ministry of Environment is promoting nature-based solutions through tree planting, mangrove restoration, urban greening, and restoring wetlands.
With the planet on the brink of climatic precipice, with the world celebrating its World Press Freedom Day, it's a call to action for government to protect journalists on the front line of reporting environmental crises, and on the other hand, a clarion call for journalists to uphold the truth while setting a robust agenda for environmental crises like the biodiversity law and promotion of the mangrove swamp vegetation for a greener economy in order to achieve a climatic resilient society for the future generation. From the National Press Center, Benga Ashiru, Arise News.
We're joined by the National President of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Chris Iziguzo. Good to see you and thanks for your time. Do we say happy? How do we greet on a day like this? It's good to think you're smiling because some days before now, a colleague of ours has been in the news again for the wrong reasons because of some of the issues highlighted in a day like this. But first of all, let us in on what this meant for journalists in Nigeria and perhaps around the continent.
Well, thank you very much. If you say happy World Press Freedom Day, I don't think you are wrong because it's a very special day for us. This year marks 31 years. We actually started this celebration, which of course looks at the place of the journalists. You know, we talk about press freedom, talk about fundamental principles of press freedom. We talk about promoting and protecting the right of the journalist to practice without fear of intimidation, of harassment, of arbitrary arrests, of clampdown by state and in some cases non-state actors, and of course other issues around that. So there's nothing wrong with saying happy World Press Freedom Day because it's there to us. Over time we have use this day to highlight critical issues associated with journalism practice and, of course, the place of journalists, the issue of safety and security of journalists, the issue of also paying tributes to journalists that have lost their lives in the line of duty. It is a day like this that we also, remember them. And that's why at the level of the NUJ, yes, globally, we have marked it today. By tomorrow, the NUJ is also rolling out the red carpet to celebrate journalists, remember those that have lost their lives, talk about the welfare of journalists, talk about the place of journalism in national development. Absolutely. We are all going to look at all that, and that's part of the packages we have for the celebration.
And Iziguzo, would you say we're getting better in terms of free press in Nigeria, as it were?
Well, you said something that is good that I was putting up a smile, because a few days before now, one of our colleagues, was held for a number of days. But one thing that stood out is that when we decided to talk about it, government saw the need to do the needful almost immediately. We are going to address a press conference. And of course, they felt, no, if we allow this to just fly, it may not be good. So for government to still make efforts, it simply means they have regard for the media. I recall the efforts of the Minister of Information. I recall the efforts of the National Security Advisor. Of course, they reached out to us. Okay, we didn't know have all these details. But now that we do, we are going to release your colleague. And of course, it happened as they promised. That sends a very strong signal to the fact that, okay, much as these things are not completely out of our client, they still, have that respect. Yes, do I say fear or whatever it is, that, okay, we don't want to set the whole system ablaze. We needed to respond swiftly, in releasing the journalists. And of course, such issues about intimidation, harassment by state actors, arbitrary arrest, incarceration, and all that. Yes, we still have a number of them, but they are going down. It's not like the way it used to be, because now it's not just about the NUJ talking. We now talk as a collective. We have the National Press Organization that is made up of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, the Nigerian Guild of Editors, Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, the Guild of Corporate Online Publishers, the BON, and all that. We are all together, trying to ensure that the rights of journalists, are protected.
Let me see if I can quickly bring in this before I let you go, and it has to do with welfare. You spoke about welfare. We've seen what's happening in Nigeria, and a few of the proprietors have deemed it fit to look into the salaries and welfare of workers, but it hasn't cut across a plethora of those in the practice. What's the union doing to ensure that the good examples set by those that have tweaked and upped the salaries and the emolument of some of their staff cuts across the practice?
Yeah, we have the Code of Ethics. The last time it was reviewed was around 1998. And when we came together and wanted to review it, I said, at the level of the NUJ, that we must go beyond reading the Riot Act to journalists. We are going to look at the Bill of Rights. The journalist that you're expecting to do all that is necessary also has some rights. The publisher must rise to the occasion. The proprietor, the media house owners, and what have you. And as we speak, myself, the president of the Guild of Corporate Online Publishers, and the one other person, we have set up a small committee to see how we are able to equally take up these things, because we are not just going to rely on government. Government has got their own responsibilities, but at our own end, we must have to come up with something that we need to start working on. And that's why one of the things we have also done is to set up the National Ombudsman, the National Media Complaints Commission. What that commission intends to achieve is not just about being a co-regulatory body. If a journalist has got an issue take it to the ombudsman. If the publisher or the proprietor has got a problem with what has been with the workers, the frontliners, as the case may be, take it to the ombudsman. If you have also maybe a news article that has been released, you don't feel comfortable, you've been maligned in your own estimation, take it to the ombudsman. That way we're able to also check underhand practices, sharp practices in the system. These are some of the things we are coming up, while also tinkering with the idea of having a regulation that substantially addresses the issue of enhanced media salary structure, because we must have a structure in place so that everybody would have to key into it. If you are a private media owner, you key into it. If you are a government establishment, you key in, so that everybody will know that there is a system in place. As of today, I don't think we have that in place. And that's why we are, at the level of the NPO, we are tinkering with the idea so that there will be some form of legislation. Absolutely. It will not be incumbent on stakeholders, strategic stakeholders, to key into that and abide by the rules.
And it's a fine place for us to leave it. National President, Nigerian Union of Journalists, Chris Iziguzo, many thanks for coming on Newsline.
My pleasure.